What's up, Cardinal Nation? Steve Leslie, YSNLive.com, your home of Canfield football all season. Awful proud of being a part of Canfield football. Joined by the play-by-play of the Cardinals, the voice of the Cardinals, Richie Giuliano, and the head ball coach, Mr. Mike Pavlansky. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you being here again tonight. Thanks to Steve Cocca for his hospitality. What a beautiful evening we have to be outside.
Yeah, it's no doubt. Thanks to Steve Cocca and the staff. The appetizers, again, off the charts. Coach, last week, a Dover team comes into town. Talented football team, no question. I was at the studio. I had that game on my end of it. Great first half defensively. And I thought, I wanted to see what you thought. One of the things for me is the offense stayed on the field more in the first half to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Second half, tides kind of turned for not a long time, a couple possessions, and like that, you get down. Talk about that.
You know, I did. I thought our defense played extremely well in the first half. Second half, we left them on the field just too long. And I think in the game we had 5 3-and-outs, and that just can't happen against a really good football team. Dover is one of those. And like you said, in the second half, I mean, it's 2 possessions, and all of a sudden you're down 14-7 rather than being up 7-0. And, you know, I think credit our kids. We were down 21-7, 2:29 left in the game with 2 timeouts. And before you know it, we got the ball on their 11-yard line with 2 shots at the end zone with 10 seconds. And, you know, just didn't work out. But, you know, credit our kids' efforts. They didn't pack it in. And, you know, that effort was there 2 weeks ago in Poland. And it worked out for the betterment for us.
Sure.
Friday night it didn't. And we got to figure out why and get better at that.
I just want to talk about some improvements that you want to touch on in practice this week and moving forward into the season. I know the offensive line struggled a little bit in the second half. Just talk about some improvements with your football team moving forward.
Yeah, you know, again, what we want to look for, obviously, we've got to be a better tackling team, without a doubt. More importantly, our offense has got to stay on the field. We can't give a good football team 60 snaps in the game, and that's what Dover got. That game was even all the way through in every category, guys, except for one. And we know this in football at any level. The team that can run the ball and stop the run generally wins a football game. We ran the ball for 38 yards, and they ran the ball for 180. And that was the ball game. We've got to figure out a way that we're able to run the football this week and stop the run if we want to win.
With Coach Pav, Coach's Corner here at Cocca's Pizza. Shout out to everyone here at Cocca's for the hospitality. Steve Cocca, a big supporter of Canfield Athletics. You said it best. They get down 2 scores. And I see a football team that continues to play like I don't know what the score is. Like if I didn't know the score, I would say this game's tied or it's a 1 possession. Sports, football, it's a game of adversity. I thought that's a great compliment to Canfield football, the way they compete, the way that you as a staff and those players play every snap, use timeouts, and like you said, get it down for a last shot to tie it up. That has to be a positive.
Absolutely, the best positive of the night, that it's something we're going to build upon. You know, guys that give great efforts while there's time on the clock. And, you know, we talk about teams in the past that have given great efforts at the end, all the way through the game, and they've either won the game at the end or unfortunately came up short like Friday night. And we're certainly going to use that game of the 2021 season as we move forward, that, hey, here's a team that didn't give up when everybody else was walking out of the stadium and thought the game was over. Now what we have to do is figure out why those things happened, because we're going to face teams just as good as Dover, if not better, and put ourselves in a better situation that we can reverse that score.
Now, Coach, you talked about your running game. Couldn't get much going offensively on the running side, but through the air, I think Brock Lowry was pretty good. Over 250 yards, I believe, close to 20 completions there. And just talk about his performance and what you saw from him.
Yeah, Brock did a great job of, especially the 2-minute drill at the end of the game, the 2 times we had the ball. But, you know, credit the offensive line for great protection. Credit our wideouts for running the proper routes, because when we call a pass play, it's certainly not just run 8 yards and run outside. We're reading coverages. We're trying to get into what we call open windows. And then when you catch the football, you got to get out of bounds, you know, to save the clock. And I thought our wideouts did a great job of that at the end of the ball game. Where we need to really improve, and it's a product of, you know, being young. There's no doubt about that. Nick Bone's the only senior on the offensive line that started for us before. We're very young up there, but we got to grow up in a hurry because we faced a very talented defensive line, and our fundamentals and our techniques were not as good as they needed to beat a team, okay, that may be a little bit more physically stronger than you are, maybe a little bit faster than you are. And again, we're going to see teams like Dover down the road here, and unless those things get corrected, okay, it's going to be real difficult to win.
With Coach Pav from Coach's Corner, I've played for so many great coaches. You're from a coaching family. Some of the great coaches I played for, and I know you've been around it, they say the adage for a great football team is you have to learn how to lose before you can win. I think that's so huge. I wanted to ask you off of that. You work on 2-minute offenses. Right. You work on using timeouts in practice. Not that Canfield's coaching staff ever wanted that situation to be in, but when you're in that, it has to be huge now that these kids see that on film.
Without a doubt, Steve, I think you're exactly right. Our kids, are going to play to the end of the ball game, winning or losing, doesn't matter. They're going to go to the end until the clock says 0-0-0. That's the biggest positive we've seen so far from this crew. Number two now is that even in a win, you got to learn from things you didn't do so well. Sometimes staffs are harder on a team after a win than they are after a loss.
Sure.
Because you don't want those mistakes to creep up on you for the next week and, cause you a loss. And so we're going to take the lessons we learned against Poland, take the lessons we learned against Dover, and hopefully this Friday night be better against JFK.
Yeah, they'll play JFK Friday night from Canfield Stadium. We'll have it for you live on YSN.com. Richie Giuliano and Gary Niddle will be on the call. Paulo, we had as a player profile with Richie, another great kid, another senior that bright future, no matter what he decides to do. Talk about him a little bit. I thought his interview was awesome talking with Richie. He'll do anything for this football team to be a leader and to win. Talk about him a little bit.
Paolo's just, he's like all the other seniors in our program. What can we do to help the team win? We're so fortunate to have guys like Paolo Paplia and Toby Smith, Nick Bone, a bunch of other seniors that hopefully through the year you'll get a chance to talk to, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Paolo came into our program as a quarterback and now is playing an inside slot, tailback. He's playing corner for us. Last year, he was, a guy that didn't have a true spot, and we're trying to fit him in to take advantage of his athleticism and also within the confines of the team. And this year he has just blossomed. And, no better compliment to Paolo than his teammates saw that, his work ethic throughout the wintertime, the track, running track and being a great track athlete. They selected him a captain this year.
That's awesome.
And, they recognize his value as a leader on our team.
Now let's preview Cleveland JFK. Not a lot of people around this area know this team very well. This is a team you played 2 years ago in 2019, was able to knock them off 34-0. Just preview them and what they bring to the table.
Well, Cleveland JFK unfortunately didn't play last Friday night. They had a game that was canceled, so we only got one tape on them. Yeah. What we see from the one tape is that they're a fast, physical crew. 2 years ago they came down here, and a lot of people didn't know about Cleveland JFK, and we found out real quick in the first quarter they hit Nick Crawford and sent him out of the season for about 4 weeks with a shoulder injury. So it's going to be a physical crew, and we better be ready for a battle. The number one concern we have is their speed up front on the offensive and defensive line, and obviously at their skill positions. If we can't handle speed Friday night, we're going to be in a world of trouble.
I think that's the key for me when I sit here and talk each week to you. You've been so successful, and all the successful teams in our programs, it becomes shocking when a Canfield loses. People are like, hey,
honestly,
what happened to Canfield? Well, they played a really good football team, and we're a good football area, and so are they. And sometimes that's where teams get better.
When you don't play fundamentally sound as you want to, that's what happens when two teams are even.
And you said that last week, sitting over there, you said, if we don't play fundamental football, we're going to find ourselves behind in the fourth quarter.
Right.
That kept popping into my mind as I'm watching that.
Again, it comes down to, and real quick, they ran 60 plays to our 59. We had the ball for 24 minutes and some seconds. They had the ball for 23 minutes and some seconds. We had 14 first downs, so they're 13 first downs. Penalties were 5 and 5. Okay, the difference in the ball game was we could not run the ball, and they ran the ball. We couldn't stop their run. And that's what it came down to, guys. It's two evenly matched teams. If we would play 10 times, it'd probably be a 5-5 series this year.
Fixing the run game. More scheme, more technique.
Yeah, technique without a doubt.
Okay.
It's confidence.
Sure.
Okay, it's in practice, working on your techniques when you're tired. Okay, working on the fundamentals, not just in the first quarter, but you got to be fundamentally sound in the fourth quarter. And it's just growing up. It's getting your feet wet in a varsity game where we got 5 of those guys. Again,
It's second game.
Yeah, second game against a really,
Yeah.
really good football team, tradition-rich, playoff caliber team,
Yes.
well coached, a tremendous program. We ran into a better team that night. Again, we played 10 times.
Absolutely.
We're gonna be
No
better on 5
question.
of those.
No, I'm gonna say maybe more now. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
6-4, 7-3, because I like busting your chops a little bit. But does it help you now? You get that out of the way. Do you see any difference in the kids?
Yeah, it's been a great week of practice.
Absolutely.
It has. And that game got their attention to the details. Not, hey, everybody likes pitching around. Brock did a great job. Receivers did a great job. We're good in pass game. The details of how you win a game. And that's what we're concentrating on this week. Our kids have come back with a great attitude. We've had a really good week of practice. We need one more tomorrow in our run through, and then teed up Friday night and see what happens.
I wanted to ask you this coming into this week. So we talked about how Dover was unpredictable coming into the matchup. You didn't know what to expect. They threw 100 times in one film. They ran the ball 100 times in the other film.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cleveland JFK. They only have one game film to watch. How much do you think that affects you personally and your coaching staff in that first half, not knowing what to expect from a football team?
Well, again, Richie, great question, but we concentrate on ourselves. Okay, let's be ourselves. Let's be the best version of ourselves every Friday night, and no matter what they do, okay, we should be okay. Now, there's in-game adjustments. Did Dover do some things that we hadn't seen before? Absolutely, as we did. Good teams do that. So that first quarter, first half, you're seeing what they have. Dover didn't beat us with something different. They didn't beat us with trick plays. They didn't beat us with something different they haven't done the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 1 or 2 plays of those, but they beat us on their traditional run game, throwing the ball deep like they do. And again, I thought our defensive backs did a great job all night long, but they got behind us twice in 60 plays. That hurts.
And when you're a young kid, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
I love talking with Coach Ritchie because football is still the same. When you get to the end, you got to run the ball and you got to stop the run.
That's it.
Doesn't matter what else you do. The team that's able to do that, 85 to 90% of the time, is the winner.
Or going to win.
And that's what excites me for this football team. That let's be honest, you're talking about an offensive line. You throw a bunch of new starters in, and by the way, your first 2 games are Poland and Dover.
Yeah,
that's
a tough schedule.
That's a tough schedule, which they play. I think that the offensive line we will talk about weeks down the road. That continue to improve, and that's got to be exciting.
And you go back to the two passes. The best pass coverage you have is a great pass rush, and we couldn't heat the kid up.
Right,
and that's why those 2 guys are getting behind them, and so it's a combination of everything. It's just not one position, it's not one play, it's not one scheme. It's a combination of everything.
Well, there you have it, Canfield fans. We'll have the game for you Friday night. JFK will invade Canfield High School. We'll have it for you on ysnlive.com. 7 o'clock with my guy here, voice of the Cardinals, Richie Giuliano. Coach, last thing, biggest key to victory number 2 for the Cardinals Friday night.
Contain speed. If it's a track meet, we're going to finish second. And whether they're running outside sweeps or throwing the ball deep, or they're sending blitzes at us, we've got to be able to stop their speed.
That track speed is the quick 2-yard hitters that turn into
absolutely
long distance. But we'll get that corrected. They're going to play a great game Friday night. Coach, again, appreciate all the time you give us at YSN.
Thank you.
We'll talk again next week for victory number 2.
That's it. I hope so. Hey, appreciate all the support, and we'll see everybody in Bob Dove Stadium.
All righty. Thanks, Coach. Thanks again, Cocca's Pizza, home of the Canfield Cardinals player profile and Coach's Corner every week. Thanks, Steve Cocca, and their great staff here at Cocca's.